What's up, AtoZSports live on a Wednesday, reacting to the NFL trade deadline that was very quiet until it wasn't. And then it exploded. A lot of big-time moves happening on Tuesday around lunchtime throughout the early afternoon. The Titans did not make a move, but could they have made a move? Because one move that was made, maybe the second biggest move of the day, looked like it could have just been an insert Jeffrey Simmons here trade. And so we'll discuss what the Jets did a couple different times throughout the show. We will start with the Jets trade of Quinnen Williams, their all-star, all-pro, Pro Bowl, everything, defensive tackle to the Dallas Cowboys. And could that have been Jeffrey Simmons? And then we'll discuss in the AFC South, the Indianapolis Colts put a lot of chips on the table for Daniel Jones by trading for former Rookie of the Year cornerback Sauce Gardner, going from the New York Football Jets to the Indianapolis Colts for 2 first-round picks. And we'll discuss the Colts there. And I have a Titans comp to that situation that we'll discuss as well. And JT, we get our first crack at sports trivia this week. We'll see how we do here. But, man, busy day yesterday. It ended up being a fun day. And we'll talk more about that here in a second, and how I had a role in all of the trade buzz picking up in our group text. So, JT, what's up? Welcome in. Let's get this thing rolling.
Yeah, what's up, Austin? Good morning. Good morning, A to Z crew. Good to see you guys for the first time this week. Obviously, was supposed to be on yesterday, and then Easton comes in and says, I need to bully Mike McCoy. And I said, who am I to not to let this not happen? So we had that happen, but excited to talk about the trade deadline today. A lot of things to talk about. And I think I have some opinions that certainly when I tested the water on them on Twitter yesterday, apparently are very hot takes, I guess, but excited to get into all of that and more this morning with all of you guys reacting to the full trade deadline for the Titans and around the league. First, before we get kicked off, though, need a couple things from you guys. First and foremost, make sure you like the show, lock in. If you haven't liked the show already, make sure you hit that like button on YouTube. And when you're down there as well, make sure you are subscribed so you don't miss any of the content we are bringing you here at the A to Z Sports YouTube channel. If you're on Facebook, hit that like button, like the page, and also share the show with a friend. Hit that button in the bottom right corner there to share the show with a Titans fan who wants to talk about the trade deadline today. And with that, Austin, I think we are ready to go.
Yep, let's do it officially. Welcome to the AtoZSports here live on a Wednesday. I'm Austin Stanley. He is JT Runke. We are powered by the BTA Sports app, and we go live weekday mornings at 8 Central Time on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Links to the show segment by segment on our Twitter X timeline. Also hit us up on Instagram, TikTok, and Threads for more great Titans content. I got to continue to remind myself to get the code, the link copied, because now you can follow us on Google. And that will go a long way for A to Z Sports. You can have us as a preferred search return outlet, and you can do that. That'd be awesome because you guys like what we do, and so we want to put more of what we do in front of you guys, and you guys want what more we do. So you can do that by following us on Google right there. We do have to thank our sponsors because they make it happen for us, and they help out all of you as well. And that is Wilson County Hyundai. Make them a part of your new car buying process. See them in Lebanon or online, wilsoncountyhyundai.com. The Bone and Joint Institute, boneandjointtn.org. They're the region's destinations for comprehensive orthopedic and sports medicine care. Barton Drury Insurance Group, customized solutions for all of your insurance needs. They are local to the area and online at bartondrury.com. The Botero Carts, life is short, buy a golf cart. They got you in 2 locations, Columbia and in Gallatin. And Window Nation, the new deal for November, JT, is 50% off all window styles, and you could get up to 5 years of 0% financing, which is insane, at windownation.com. So yesterday, JT, I don't know about you, but like I tried to clear my schedule on trade deadline day as much as I physically could, with different business meetings and overall things and planning and what we've got going on at A to Z Sports, the leadership level. But also just, wanting to be hands-on if things move, right? Like, how can we help with different angles and headlines and reaction and graphics and organization, all this stuff. And I just found myself just sitting here in my chair, just like, nothing's happening. Like, man, it's kind of boring. Like, well, what we get? I was like, it's too early to eat lunch. It was one of those days I was like, what can I do? It's too early for lunch. And then I sent a text into our group text with you, Easton, and Ryan. I say, man, sometimes the trade deadline can feel so long. And literally 30 seconds after that, Sauce Gardner, 2 first-round picks from the Jets to the Colts. And I was like, oh, my gosh. And then Rashid Shaheed goes from the Saints. Yeah, Jacoby Myers. Everything started right after that. I was like, oh, okay, here we go. Let's go. Let's do it. And then, of course, I had 2 afternoon meetings that got in the way, and there you go. But, man, it was a very busy trade deadline day. I think it was the 3rd busiest deadline day in terms of deals made on the trade deadline day in NFL history. But it did feel like they were bigger deals and some blockbuster type labels of deals overall. So what was your you have any big picture overall thoughts about deadline day as a whole before we dive into was Jeffrey Simmons being called about by the Dallas Cowboys?
Yeah, like you said, 3rd busiest. I believe it also was the busiest since 1990 or right up there. So like I think this is in terms of the trade deadline as a whole, it's very unprecedented, but I don't think that this is going to be a one-time thing. I think as we continue to get closer and closer to, a new renegotiation of of everything between owners and players and all of this, and as the business continues to grow, this is the start of you're starting to see the trade deadline actually look like this. Before, like 2 or 3 years ago, it probably would be like you move some depth guys around, but nobody too big, right? It wasn't this type of spectacle, and now it is. And I think that this is not a one-off. This is something we're going to see, but also the kind of deals that were made this trade deadline. A lot of guys who are not veteran rentals, a lot of guys who are under contracts, who are young or on, not a lot of veteran guys being like a piece to put you over the top. No, these are young guys who can still make an instant impact on their new team for these teams that want to contend. And so it was, you can call it unprecedented, but I don't think it's going to be a one-off for the foreseeable future.
Yeah, that's Daniel Caribbean says that the Shaheed trade might have the biggest immediate impact, and that could be the case, right? Because he's going to join a Seattle Seahawks offense that is on fire, and having a pure, speedy, deep threat to go along with JSN and what Sam Darnold's got going on there is going to be something to watch.
It's my favorite move of the day, specifically because the offense that he ran with the Saints last year, his former offensive coordinator, is now with the Seattle Seahawks. So he can
who might be a Titans head coach candidate with Clinton Kubiak,
Yeah, very, very true. So he just, plug and play essentially there.
How many times can you hire the son of a NFL head coach and it not work out, right? I feel like the Titans can spin that again and just see what happens overall. But all right, so a couple of other things I wanted to get to. Daniel said the Colts Jets trade feels stupid for both teams. Not sure how that works out. We will discuss the Sauce Gardner trade with the Colts because it's in the division, and I have a Titans comp for that situation that might make you think a little bit more about that overall. But let's get to the Quinnen Williams deal because that was a big one and a lot of immediate reaction. I know my instant reaction was that looks a lot like what Jeff Simmons could have gone for. Because here was Quinnen Williams, who was also a 2019 draft pick in the high first round where Jeffrey Simmons was at 19th overall because he was coming off a torn ACL that happened in training. But the Jets traded star defensive tackle Quinnen Williams to the Cowboys in exchange for a 2026 second-round pick, a 27 first-round pick, and D tackle Mozzie Smith. And that's from Ian Rappaport, Pelissero, and Mike Garofalo from yesterday. So, it's a good return, a future first, and a second, and plus a player. So I think the immediate thought is, I think it's common sense to say that the Cowboys called the Titans to inquire about Jeffrey Simmons, because if they didn't, why? If they, the Cowboys and Jerry Jones was teasing all Monday, oh, yeah, I've got a couple trades going, and you guys will just watch. And we're like, yeah, okay, Jerry, good. Yeah. Luke Wilson, good one, man. But no, and this one, hey, he delivered. because Quinnen Williams is a big move. And, they send the future first-round pick. I don't know which pick that is, if it's the Cowboys or if it's
it will be the higher of the two.
The higher of the two. Okay, good to know. So, if the Cowboys didn't call the Titans for Jeff, then they just weren't doing their process correct, And so I think we have to, common sense, say the Cowboys called the Titans to kick the tires on Jeffrey Simmons, and they got Quinnen Williams instead, and they gave up a second-round pick this year and a first-round pick next year, and Mozzie Smith. So should we just jump in and ask the question? Because I think we're kind of there.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely, because the headline of today's show is common sense. The Cowboys call about Simmons and get Quinnen Williams instead. We're not saying that is a fact, but it just is. You hear all week in the weeks leading up that teams are calling about Jeffrey Simmons, and if the Cowboys were in the market for a D tackle, they absolutely called about Jeffrey Simmons, specifically a D tackle who's playing like a defensive player of the year candidate when he's on the field right now. Like, of course, the Cowboys called about Jeffrey Simmons, but as we learn, they go with Quinnen Williams. Now, is that because they offered maybe something different than Jeff, or because the Titans said no to that offer of a second in 2026, a first in 2027, and a kind of what's the word? I guess a new start for Mozzie Smith, a kind of fresh start, reconstruction type project there with Mozzie Smith. Maybe they said no. Maybe they didn't get that same kind of compensation there,
or maybe the Titans just said no and didn't even hear
and didn't even hear the offer.
Yeah.
But like you said, it's common sense to look at these two players drafted in the same draft class, very same age, both on like the same kind of contract schedule, right? When Jeffrey Simmons got his big deal, it was like, who's going to get more after the Aaron Donald deal? Who's going to get more, Quinnen Williams or Jeffrey Simmons? That was the big conversation. So like, and these guys have been at a similar caliber of talent and production over their careers. So like, it's hard not to say that, like, kind of plug and place, either one of these guys, and it's the same kind of thing. So,
all right. So I put up a YouTube poll already, and we'll ask the chat this question. If the Titans were offered the Quinnen Williams trade for Jeffrey Simmons, should they have taken it? It is a yes or no question, but there is a way deeper conversation than just yes or no. We all have opinions on this. I want to know why you answer yes or no. Now, the return would have been a 2026 second-round pick this year, and then a first-round pick next year, the higher of either the Cowboys or the Packers first-round picks in 27, because the Cowboys had two because the Micah Parsons trade earlier in the summer. So that is the return. If the Titans were offered this same trade, this year's second and a 2027 first plus Mozzie Smith, back to you, should the Titans have taken it? So we've got that out there. I want to hear people's thoughts and why. You can answer yes or no. You can tell us why you say no and why you say yes. But JT, you can tell us all about our friends at the Botero Carts.
Yeah, Botero Carts. Life is short. You got to buy a golf cart. And when you do finally buy that golf cart, because you realize life is short, you got to do it with our friends at Botero Cart. 0% financing for 36 months with carts starting at just $6,700. They're open 7 days a week with a full service sale and rental dealership that is locally owned and operated in the Middle Tennessee area, with 2 locations to serve you in Gallatin, Tennessee, and their new location in Columbia, Tennessee. No dealer fee, no credit card fee when you buy your shiny new golf cart. And it is shiny and new because it is stored indoors out of the weather for your convenience. And there's also a no credit needed option if you want to take that route. Once again, life is short. You got to buy a golf cart. And when you do it with our friends over at Botero Carts.
Ding, 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 ding. I have a deal for you. How about a new deal for BTA Sports? Because it's better for bettors to help you out with your models, your predictions, your picks, and your bets. Starting today, actually, because we're getting deeper and deeper into the season. There's a new price on the yearly subscription for BTA Sports. It is $79.99, not $20 off that bad boy. This is a great deal. You can be grandfathered in to an amazing deal for BTA Sports, $79.99 for the annual 12-month subscription to BTA Sports. How do you do that? You click the link on the Facebook title or the YouTube subscription. Use the code ATOZSports. That is ATOZSports, all one word, code ATOZSports. You get a 14-day free trial, then a 12-month subscription for $79.99. That's an easy way to win your money back there with BTA Sports. That just got started today. JT is being blessed by the sunshine this
That's
morning.
what I was going to say. This is the first time ever in this show that I've had the sun hit this exact spot.
Well,
And I don't know what that means. So
I know what it means. It means that this is your first show since daylight savings time started. It's also the sun and the earth has rotated in that weird spot
probably,
here.
The leaves have probably started to fall as well.
Yeah,
So
there you go.
Somehow. So we'll have to fix that for reposition and adapt there. But I guess we can get into what the chat has to say.
Yes. So I'll send you the chat, right? If the Titans were offered the Quinnen Williams deal for Jeffrey Simmons, should the Titans have taken it? This is should the Titans have taken it type of answer. So I'll let you head to it. What do you say?
Yeah, Edwards says no, the Titans should not have. D Reed says no, it needed to be a bigger offer, which I don't know how you can get much bigger than a first, second, and a player for a guy who's in the middle of his career. I mean, I guess you could get 2 firsts. So
or flip the first and the second.
True. Yes. But fair enough.
Have the
I
first
guess.
Now and the second later instead of the second now and the first.
Steven says no, it's a repeat of Packers, Cowboys, and Micah Parsons, which interesting there. Anthony says yes. I don't like saying yes, but absolutely yes. Eric Castillo saying no, can't replace Jeff's leadership that has really only popped up this year. Jack Longley says, no, we are ahead of where they are in the rebuild. We have a quarterback.
We'll come back to that.
Yeah, I'm going to start that one. Tall Texan says, yes, his position is a luxury, not a cornerstone. Darius says no. Chris says no. Ira Hoshi believes it's not enough either to trade away Jeffrey Simmons. David says no. Larry says no. Sadler says, I would have traded him. Everyone is replaceable. Edward says, no, Jeff is better. 2 firsts. So I guess, yes,
So I was going to ask you this question because that comment right there said, no, Jeff is better than Williams. What, JT, you have a better eye on the whole league than I do. Who has the better player reputation across the league between these 2 players, Jeffrey Simmons or Quinnen Williams?
It's hard because the national analysts probably tend to move towards Quinnen Williams because they just don't talk about the Tennessee Titans.
So that's a New York Jets thing.
I think that's a New York bump
thing
there. But if you wanted to talk about on-field production and talk to people who just watch film and
that's
get down to brass tacks, it's Jeff. I think Jeff is absolutely the better player right now in his career.
What's the margin? Is it that big of a difference?
I think it's close. And if you wanted to say right now at the trade deadline who was better, Jeff is having the better season, but he's also hurt. So that's the little difference there, right? Because if the Cowboys did call, would you have gotten the same package? People are saying Jeff is better, so you needed more, but Jeff is hurt. So I don't know, even if you asked for more, if you were going to get that. If you're just talking between, we can go get a Quinnen Williams or a hurt Jeff, that's not going to help us when we really need help right now at 3-5-1 to get back into this thing. If Jeff might be back this week after the bye or the week after the bye.
Yeah, but will he be able to play for the Cowboys this Sunday?
Right. That's the big thing there. And so I don't know, but if you're talking about just player specifically and the talent and the production of what they're doing this year for their respected teams, I'm going Jeff over Quinnen Williams.
Yeah. So somebody asked, isn't Quinnen Williams younger? They
by like 6 or 7 months.
Yeah,
8
like
months.
so
Something
Jeffrey
like that.
Simmons turns 28 in July. Quinnen Williams turns 28 in December. So not even that. It's
Yeah.
literally 5 months.
Yeah, like I said, same draft class, very similar like career trajectories in terms of where they got paid, where they are right now in their careers. So like it's hard not to
Yeah.
compare the two.
They're both in their age 28 season. You know, Jeff's birthday just happens to be right before training camp. Quinnen Williams' birthday just happens to be right before Christmas. So it's the same year of their age overall. They also have the same type of contract set up too. So I think it's really fascinating that we got to have this example because I even had Tyler Fornes from our team, who's our Vikings analyst and writer, who texted me and he said, "Hey, are the Titans really not interested in moving Jeff because the Vikings are kind of interested in something like that?" And yeah, they have been very, very adamant that they are not interested in moving Jeff. But if you would have asked me before the Quinnen Williams trade, what could the Titans get for Jeffrey Simmons at the deadline, I would have probably said a second-round pick and stopped there.
Yeah.
Because in yesterday's moves, I think had bigger return than previous. Like Rashid Shaheed was 2 picks for a receiver. You know,
For a rental,
Jacoby Myers was 2 picks for a receiver. Then you had in both the blockbuster deals, the Quinnen Williams deals and the Sauce Gardner deals, it was 2 big ass picks and the player. And the player that went to the team trading away, the player that went to the Jets in both situations were like no schluffs. Like Mozzie Smith was a prospect. A.D. Mitchell was a prospect, like a dude that you could see having a high ceiling. And so I would have thought second round pick for Jeff. Okay, that makes sense because there's a lot of day 3 pick swaps in the month of October and December or September.
Yeah. It was like you said, it's an unprecedented deal, and I think we're going to see more and more of these. Like we'll get in with the sauce. These are deals that you don't really see all the time, and the fact that we saw multiple of them yesterday, I think, is telling us this is the kind of direction where we're going, because maybe it is this kind of thinking. I saw Daniel in the comments here talking about his reasoning for why they did not, or why he would not have traded Jeffrey Simmons, because draft picks are, at the end of the day, they are lottery tickets. Now you can kind of play the odds of where those lottery tickets fall and how your chances of hitting on those by which position you're in the draft, but it still takes excuse me, taking the right guy there. And so at the end of the day, it seems like maybe some of those picks are, teams maybe view those picks as more lottery tickets than guys who were going to be cornerstones to help out. But also do push back on the idea that I understand that their names hold a lot of weight for A.D. Mitchell and Mozzie Smith, but A.D. Mitchell had essentially fallen. I mean, he had fallen out of favor in that crowded wide receiver room in Indianapolis. Certainly was not getting the playing time and was not the player that they were hoping he could be. Mozzie Smith has essentially been a bust since he landed with the Cowboys. That is a reclamation project for the New York Jets, and a guy who has some serious character concerns too. Let's not forget that as well.
But there are higher ceiling talents, sure, right? Like they are legitimate talented guys that have not developed into productive players. Right? Yes.
Fair enough.
So all right, before we get to our opinions on this, I did favorite some comments. And we have a super chat on this topic too. We'll get to that as well. But I see Ramon saying the Titans are losers on the desk and on the field. Yeah, I think the Titans could actually have come away as a winner yesterday, and we can talk more about that, in the days to come. I know Friday's show will have a draft type flavor to it, with how the trade deadline impacts and could impact the Titans at the top of the draft. Bob said that the Titans should have traded Jeff. He's great, but hasn't played a full season in the last 3 years. I think one thing we should also do with 17 games and probably soon to be 18 games, I don't think you should expect non-quarterbacks to play all the games in the season. I think a full season should be like 14 plus, right? Because especially for, like if you're missing four more games and you had an IR stint, now you can say, okay, you're having trouble staying healthy, but I'm going to give you 3-ish to 2 to 1 games of missing because it's a long year. You're trying to manage things. And so I don't think, in the last 3 years, Bob, like Jeffrey Simmons sat out the Cowboys Thursday night game in 2022, which goes into Bob's timeline here, because there was no point for him to play. It was rest up, get ready for the Jags game to win and get in the playoffs situation the next time. So he didn't play a full season, because they strategically sat it. So there's stuff like that goes into it. Anthony says, this is a major issue I have with the way the Titans have handled this trade deadline that hasn't been discussed, which I think is interesting because the Titans traded 2 guys early, pre-deadline week, where the return was a lot lower.
Traded a guy who also may have factored in to the idea that the Colts.
I think Jarvis Brownlee is different. Jarvis Brownlee, that's a separate thing. But Roger McCreary being traded last week versus yesterday or Monday, I think there's something to that. Could you have gotten an actual pick instead of a pick swap for Roger McCreary to a playoff contending team in the Rams?
Yeah, potentially. And there's a lot that goes into that, right? It's maybe when the team called about Roger McCreary saying, well, we kind of want him to get him into our system now versus later. So like if we, we'll either do it now or not, there's things like that could happen as well, like both ways. But I have a lot of thoughts on this trade deadline for the Titans. I first of all, I don't think it was a bad trade deadline for them, right? Like, I think it was fine. I think they did a lot of what they needed to do. Like, you asked, if you told me at the beginning of the season, like, yeah, they trade Roger McCreary, Draymond Jones, like at the deadline. Well, yeah, for the sake of the discussion, we'll throw the Jarvis one out because that's a one-off that I'm sure we'll hear about today, because finally getting to talk to, basically, as Easton alluded to, media begging to talk to Mike Borgonzi, like for the past 3 or 4 weeks, ever since that trade happened.
Mm-hmm.
And then finally the Titans being like, well, the trade deadlines, I guess, like, we'll give it to you. We'll throw you a bone. So like, it's funny that we're going to like talk about the trade deadline, and probably the first or second question after Mike Borgonzi's opening will be about a trade that happened a month and a half ago.
Yeah.
Which is
and
hilarious.
Also another key thing. This is a Mike Borgonzi presser without Chad Brinker.
I was gonna be curious. Like, is Brinker not gonna be there?
He shouldn't be. He should. Right? It was not presented that way.
Yes.
To us. So all right. So I'm gonna get to now. We have to answer the question because we've not done that. We've danced around it for way too long, and I have enough YouTube poll results that 17 minutes ago poll that we put up of if the Titans were offered the Quinnen Williams trade, should they have taken it? So we'll get to the YouTube poll results. We have a super chat as well. We have more comments that I've looked at for this particular conversation, which I think has been really good. And we have a lot more of details to get into this. But first, JT, tell us all about the Bone and Joint Institute.
Yeah, the Bone and Joint Institute, the region's destination for comprehensive orthopedics and sports medicine. Whenever you get hurt in life, you have to know who to trust, and that's why we trust the Bone and Joint Institute, which is located in Franklin, right off of I-65, with over a dozen specialists who can help you through any type of injury. They have a state-of-the-art rehab facility on campus to help your recovery, and they can do everything under one roof for your convenience, whether that is the clinic, testing, imaging, surgery, or rehab. They've got you covered. To schedule an appointment, go to boneandjointtn.org.
Also, I said it earlier, it's a new deal that started today. Is AtoZSports has a new price for their annual year-long subscription. It is now $79.99 $99 to become a better sports bettor. Again, BTA Sports helped me win actual dollars on my sports book because I thought about taking Titans plus 9.5, but when I saw BTA Sports saying the Titans plus 9.5 was a great play last week against the Chargers, I was like, you know what? Let's do that. And they won me money. It's, I don't know how many different times. I probably am running out of fingers and thumbs. I might need to go to my toes to how many bets BTA Sports has helped me win this season. And it's only week 10. So BTA Sports has helped out quite a bit with the NFL season for me. You can do that. Download the app, click the link in our Facebook title or the YouTube description, and then use the code ATOZSports. That's ATOZSports for the new 12-month subscription at $79.99. That is an incredible deal right there for BTA Sports. So JT, I accidentally somehow cleared my web browser that I had the YouTube poll on. So I'm going to have to dance around to get that. So I will buy some time by letting you start. If the Titans were offered a second-round pick this year and a first-round pick in 2027, plus Mozzie Smith, maybe, who cares, for Jeffrey Simmons, should the Titans have done it?
Yeah, I also am going to buy us some extra time because I really don't like this. This comment is irking me, and I'm not saying it's against him, but Mr. Clean 508 says if Sauce is getting 2 firsts, he's not taking nothing less for Jeff. People, we understand that Sauce Gardner is 24, right? It feels like he's been in the league for a long time more than that, but that is a player who is now under contract until Jeff's age, right? Sauce Gardner is 24 and is under contract, a contract that, mind you, probably will need reworking because after next year it's kind of big, but that's a player that's only 24. So I think it's 2 different situations there. Sorry, just had to get that out. So the question, right? We're doing if the Titans should have done it.
Should the Titans have done it?
Should the Titans have done it? My personal opinion is yes. I would have done it.
Good.
Like I said, basically in my tweet yesterday when this came down, I said, I understand why the Titans did not. 1, the messaging is entirely that Jeffrey Simmons is off the table. Not happening. 1. 2, Mozzie Smith as a little kicker there back, I think is a non-factor for a team like Mike Borgonzi, who already clearly, after the Jarvis Brownlee Jr. saga, has no room for character concern guys. This is a locker room that if you have character concerns, not happening. So is that null and void? Probably. So I understand why they didn't do it, but I would have done it, man. I was on the same line of thinking with you, right? I was probably saying a first for Jeffrey Simmons is probably enough for me to say yes, but a first and a second, and then a player, which once again,
the player is interchangeable.
Whatever.
Can be.
It's a lot. And I go back to Jack's comment here, which says, when he says, no, we are ahead of where they are in their rebuild. We have a quarterback. I push back against that a little bit. And this is maybe where I get in some trouble with my thinking. Are the Titans really ahead of where the Jets are in their rebuild?
So
you have a quarterback, right?
Yes. And that is why I say no, the Titans should not have taken this trade. So that's where we differ. And I'm glad that it kind of intersects this point because the Titans have a quarterback. Therefore, they have a Jeffrey Simmons type trade return built in with their first round pick in 2026 because they don't need a quarterback, right? Because here's where I'm at here. Because the Titans have Jeffrey Simmons, the Jets have Quinnen Williams. The Titans have a quarterback, the Jets don't. So wherever the Jets and Titans are picking in the draft, the Jets have to pick a quarterback, so they need ammunition to make sure that they can get to where they need to get to for their guy. The Titans don't. they can create their ammunition for rebuilding their roster with that first round pick. So let's say the Titans are the second pick right now, which they currently are. The Jets are third because they were on a bye this past week, so that'll probably even out when the Jets lose on Sunday. So if they had the third overall pick or whatever, I don't care if the Jets are in front of the Titans or not. But a quarterback needy team is behind the Titans, right? They need to come up to the Titans. Yeah, yeah. There should be plenty of quarterback needy teams behind the Titans. The Titans, if they trade out of 3 and slide down to, 8, what are they going to get? A second round pick and a future first, probably, right? Yeah. So they have this trade return built in with that first overall, with their first round pick, and they have Jeffrey Simmons. So that's why I'm a no, because you can create that draft capital to continue to build with top 100 picks and this drafting front office with what you have. And I do think it's important in a rebuild. You've got a pillar on offense that is Cam Ward. You have a pillar on defense that is Jeffrey Simmons. You've got 2 things, 2 people, 2 leaders, 2 guys aligned with the same type of competitive spirit and mindset to build around. And that is important for me going forward.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying.
Yeah, but
this Cam Ward has not, to me, shown that he's the guy yet. I think that's very fair to say. So there is the mixed opinion. I'm sure this front office believes that Cam Ward is the guy. Hell, Draymond Jones on his way out the door said Cam Ward's the truth. Like, he's the guy. So, like, maybe that is true. I'll believe it when I see it, frankly, still. And I understand that you want to have some hope, but we need to see it. And will that take more than the rest of this season? Will that take next year? Will it take the year after? You're starting to get into the conversation of, is Jeffrey Simmons even really here when this team starts to compete again?
Sure, but you also, but I think like Jeffrey Simmons, I think being here over the next 2 to 3 seasons, however long his contract is, including this one, he is helping groom the guys that will be important when they're good again, right? Like Femi Oladejo will be able to benefit over the next couple of years for being in that locker room and that defensive huddle with Jeff. And if it's 2029, Femi Oladejo is getting a dozen sacks a season and is wrecking games, and Jeff is somewhere else playing out the last few years of his career, but the Titans are competing in the playoffs, then that developmental time, having Jeff here was a bridge to help build that next core. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think that's fair. I just think
because Esco said, couldn't you have both? Trade Simmons, get a second and a first, and then also trade your first round pick to get a second and a first. Now you've done, yes, you could have, but now you don't have a pillar on defense or a face or a leadership of Jeffrey Simmons to help groom that new core, like I just mentioned.
Yeah, I think that's an important part. I think it's also fair to say that those picks could be a part of a core that is here with Cam during that entire schedule, whatever it is. If it is 5 or 6 years down the road instead of maybe 2 or 3, you also do need the veteran leadership. So I think that's why they end up not doing it, because you do need that. But if it were me, I certainly would have, because here's the thing, right? There is still a world where the Saints, the Jets, hell, maybe even the Browns end up picking before the Titans. And so, I mean, there is, I mean, all these teams are at 1-7, 1-8, right?
Well, the Browns have 2 wins.
Well, sure, right? But
which is, it's big because the Titans play the Browns.
Again,
the Titans play the Browns and the Jets play, and the Titans play the Saints. So there's a lot that's going to happen.
Right. And so we're saying right now that they have a trade back built in. But let's say, once again, the Titans against Dylan Gabriel and whatever's going on there with Tommy Reese now, of all people, calling plays, they win that game, ruin their trade back. They play the Saints. They win that game. They ruin their trade back, right? Then you're sitting at 4 or 5 with people not really wanting to trade back because all the quarterback needy teams are ahead
But
of
guess
you.
what? Guess what? Okay, because guess what? Is the number one quarterback in this draft going to be the number one player in this draft? Probably not.
Probably not.
So if you are the Titans at 4 and quarterbacks go 1, 2, 3, guess what? Best player of the draft right there
You
to
still
you.
get Ruben
And you've
Vega.
got
That's
all
fair.
those holes to fill.
It's
Boom.
also this. You're right, and it's the same argument. It'll be the same argument as last year when you want Cam, or do you trade back and you get Abdul Carter? Like, do you get the best player in the draft, or you take what you need? Right? I understand that. Still, for this conversation, right? If we're talking about the trading Jeffrey Simmons away to get those picks, or having that essentially built in, there's still possibility that you don't trade Jeff away, and all of that trade back possibility is now gone by the end of the season. So those built-in picks are not there.
Yeah, and they're that could always be the case. There's no doubt about that. But I still think having Jeffrey Simmons is valuable to the future of the franchise, especially with how Cam Ward and Jeff vibe together. I think there's something to that you can have a little bit of that. Remember the Titans, Gary Bertier versus Julius Campbell energy going on between those two guys to help jumpstart whatever the result is of this.
Yeah, and this is, once again, people are saying, well, who are you taking at quarterback? I'm not taking quarterback in the 2026 draft. I'm not. Cam Ward's the quarterback. He just has not, to me, shown that they're ahead of the rebuild because of where they are right now with Cam Ward's development, right? I think it's going to take a little bit longer. And so, like, you don't know if they believe that he's the answer. We haven't seen it on the field yet, and that's something that they're going to continue to try to develop here. Could a future second and a 2027 first in some of the most loaded offensive classes be good to have extra picks in to build around Cam when he finally does start, showing that he is the guy? Maybe. It could help. So
yeah, Titans fans says, here we go again. Fans wanting the Titans to lose games for picks. Every season, people want to lose for picks. People don't watch the team, want them to win. Plus, these players have families and bills. They got to play hard. Yeah, again, tanking is not purposely messing up plays. That is called point shaving, and that's when the FBI gets involved in the NBA. But no, this is like playing worse players who play hard, and they're playing hard is not good enough to win. So I will point out a great example. The Jets, who are in a full fire sale rebuild, start from scratch situation here, are having to do this when they had a week 17 game of 5-6 seasons ago against the Cincinnati Bengals, and the Bengals tanked better than the Jets and got Joe Burrow, and the Jets did not. And the Jets are the Jets. And yes, Joe Burrow's hurt, and Joe Burrow's been through a lot of stuff, and the Bengals aren't great, but they did go to the Super Bowl, and they did have some really good years and still have a future because of Joe Burrow. And the Jets don't, and that came down to last week of the season tank off there. So it does make a difference here. So, all right, we have Super Chats still to get to with this Jeffrey Simmons conversation and the YouTube poll results, but I do think we've continued to add really good things to this. But real quick, before I get to that, and then we have my Titans comp to the Colts and Sauce Gardner. I still have that in my pocket to get to. But Barton Drury Insurance Group, customized solutions for all of your insurance needs. They can help you out. It is open enrollment season, so you and your family may be looking for those new benefits, the new health coverage plans to help you save some money in the new year and not have to sacrifice coverage. That is what the Barton Drury Insurance Group can do for you. They've helped out AtoZSports as a company because they have our workers' comp policy that they run for us and our employee benefits for the health coverage and dental right there for our team to pick up when they need it. So you can check them out online, bartondrury.com. You can call them on the phone. You're going to have a local staff member that is super responsive. Answer the phone, 615-806-1265. They will jump on a Zoom. You can go visit them in person. You can have a phone call or email, all these different things to help you out along the way at bartondrury.com.
Yeah, also shout out our friends over at BTA Sports. Once again, great deal. The November of deals. We're back on AtoZSports bringing you great deals, and that is here with us at BTA Sports. Our friends there at BTA Sports, $79.99 for the season pass, grandfathered into all the things that They are continuing to build out with their app. Once again, like you said, Austin, a lot of picks that you've made using BTA have hit. Certainly on Monday night, it helped me. They had the Cowboys actually as underdogs, even though they were 3-point favorites, took the Cardinals, ended up having a winning leak over 500 with that bet right there as the Cardinals come to Dallas and embarrass the Cowboys. So got to use BTA. And when you sign up, use that code AtoZSports to turn your 7-day free trial into a 14-day free trial with our friends at BTA Sports. BTA, better for bettors.
All right, the poll results on YouTube has had a lot of time to marinate. If the Titans were offered the Quinnen Williams trade for Jeffrey Simmons, should they have taken it? 40% say yes, 60% say no. That's pretty good. It's a pretty balanced, but I do think that the chat's answers reflected more no's than yeses. You were a yes, JT. I am a no. And then
I would have done it. I understand why though.
And Nisha Super Chat says, am I the only person who thinks they should hold off on stripping down the defense? Way too many needs on offense to be adding more stress to the defense, and they needed the draft picks available for the offense. I mean, I feel like they put all the resources in the offense already and not in the defense. They've already been stripping down the defense, and they've done that by making 3 trades already this season. On defense. And so, I think stripping down the defense all that matters is getting Cam Ward right. And then once you have Cam Ward right, now you can be more specific with how you're building around him. Jason, your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely, right? This season, it all is about trying to get Cam Ward to believe that he's the guy and seeing this team get that right. It's the most important thing. It hasn't really happened yet. It can still happen as, once again, now that you still have Calvin Ridley, you still have Jeff Simmons, this team could, if Jeff Simmons and Calvin Ridley are out there on this past Sunday, do you think they beat the Chargers? I kind of do. Certainly with how they were getting after Justin Herbert.
I mean, if they would have quarterback sneaked it on the 1 yard line, they could have beaten the Chargers, regardless of Jeff and Calvin. I mean, that's
absolutely
not to get into that.
Yeah, I right, but I think certainly would have helped. I think there is a possibility that this team can start putting wins together and build on Cam Ward, because that's at the end of the day what you want. That's what you want this team to be. And so if you can find out your answer by the end of the season and know that Cam is your guy, then I'll believe it. I just need to see it once. I'll believe Cam is the guy if I see it once. I haven't seen it yet, but I do think that it's hard to say that this team, because of how many, it's hard because the defense they've put so much draft capital into the defense in other regimes that this new regime doesn't really specifically like the way they've done it. So tearing it down to now have to build it up again is because you're switching all of these regimes. So
and now Mike Borgonzi is putting his fingerprints on it, and he talks to Easton and the rest of the Titans media in an hour. More super chats. Andre says Jets are another example of having all the defensive talent and meaning nothing without a quarterback, odd considering that they could be in position to draft one, though. I mean, it's a good point here. And then, Malachi had this comment, not a super chat, but I thought it kind of fit with the conversation. The Titans not trading Simmons is exactly why they're never good. You have a good player on a very bad team, and you don't use that player to build for the future. If we were competing or at least competent this year, then I could see keeping him. But we're not, don't even have a coach. Those things are fat, and that's a factual and a fair opinion to have. I think the Titans, so the Jets made the Quinnen Williams trade if it were last year's Titans. You have a first-year coach. Your team sucks. You need a quarterback. So trade away Jeffrey Simmons.
Yeah, I think it.
But then you end up firing the GM. And so again,
it's hard to say.
That there's so many different, there's so many wrinkles into the Titan situation that make it a very complicated situation, which is frustrating because every time we have a discussion, it all comes back to, well, John Robinson's draft classes from 2020 to 22 really sucked. And by the way, something we haven't really touched on yet, the first Rand Carthon class with Mike Vrabel, that one is quickly disintegrating.
Yes.
And we can maybe leave it at that for more overall conversation. And Ninja Super Chat says, does the talent in this draft support trade backs? I don't know, but guess what? We'll find out on Friday because
I would say so.
Usually it is.
I mean, this is going to be, if last year was like the Sahara in terms of quarterback talent coming out in the draft, this year is like an oasis. There's no shortage of guys when we get around to the end or the beginning of January. That's going to be like, it came down to Shadur versus Cam Ward last season, right? With Jackson Dart just kind of rearing his ugly head at the back. This is going to be a flat out hype war between Mendoza, Ty Simpson, and Dante Moore. And then you have no shortage of other guys who are going to pop into the conversation of, you're going to have that Bo Nix, JJ McCarthy, Michael Penix type guys who are going to be like, maybe a team who is competing right now wants to trade up and get their future quarterback type thing. Like, that's how this is going to be. So for a team who has a quarterback that they believe in, like the Titans, and don't need to, that don't need to really take, look at the quarterbacks this season, you are going to find a good player in terms of whether it just falls to you at whatever draft pick you're at, or in terms of a trade back. And so, yes, Curtis says, so you guys need to hype up this year's draft class. Yes, start everyone. If you know a Jets fan, if you know anybody, start bumping up that Mendoza hype train or Ty Simpson or whatever, because
hell yeah,
you're gonna need it. You're going to need it right after.
Hey, Lenore Sellers,
season.
Man. That guy could ball. It's all Shane Beamer's fault. It's all Mike Shula's fault.
Well, he's not coming out this season. So,
yeah.
Don't talk to me about the Gamecocks.
Yeah, I know. All right. Drew Aller might not get drafted because of his ankles in two places. All right. So I have a Titans comp to get to on the Sauce Gardner trade with the Colts. Real quick, Assad says, great seeing you guys last weekend. Yes, Assad came by after the post-game show and said hey to Easton and I. So he was in from Houston, so good talking to you for a little bit. Wanted to get that out there as well. But all right, my Titans comp for the trade that really started things going yesterday. The Colts getting Sauce Gardner from the Jets and sending 2 first-round picks and receiver Adonai Mitchell to the New York Jets. So that will come up and where I have a Titans comp with that. But first, I want to tell you guys about Window Nation, windownation.com, a free estimate. Windows officially arriving installed on the house November 25th. Had the date set right before Thanksgiving, getting our new windows in because we took advantage of the great deal in the fall. They've changed the deal. It's phenomenal because it's 50% off all window styles, and you can earn up to 0% financing for 5 years. That's insane. We saved thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars with the previous deal for our home. We're upping the quality of our home, upping the overall value of our home, and having a better quality of living inside the house because our current windows are net negative. They're not keeping the temperature what we want it to be. They are letting the cool air in because we have those old metal builder grade windows. We're getting top of the line, triple silver lined windows here. Did you know there's silver in good windows? I didn't until then because Window Nation taught me all that. So windownation.com is where to go. Free estimate. You can have them come to your house, do the whole presentation, and you have nothing on the line. You could just say, not for us right now, and that's totally fine. Or you can save thousands and thousands of dollars if new windows are on your project list. windownation.com.
Yeah, shout out once again, one more time to our friends over at BTA Sports, Better for Betters. Tell you one more time before the show, but got to get in with them right now before they grandfather you into all of their great new features coming to the BTA Sports app. $79.99 for the year pass. That gets you not just the end of the NFL season, but that's 12 months. So you get the rest of this season, and you're coming back around to next November on the yearly pass. BTA, Better for Betters.
Okay, so the Colts make this trade, and I just want to ask this question, and JT, you can throw this in the chat. Are the Colts being too aggressive with not enough sample size of Daniel Jones? because they're giving up 2 first-round picks, 26 and 27, for Sauce Gardner, because they're like, hey, we're going all in. So that's a yes or no question you guys throw out there. Like, are they being too aggressive with a small Daniel Jones sample size coming off a loss? Mr. Clean says the Colts are bugging. So before I get to my Titans comp, JT, what are your thoughts on the topic there?
Yes, it is aggressive to going back to the conversation we just had. Teams will do crazy things when they think they found their answer at quarterback, right? Because, look at the same thing can be said for the Jets. Like, the Jets had an insane run of draft classes, drafting Garrett Wilson, Breece Hall, Sauce Gardner, Jermaine Johnson, Quinnen Williams. Like, Quinnen Williams like 2 or 3 years earlier, but they went on an insane run and were the darlings of the NFL draft for 2-ish years and had all this talent in the world. But guess what? With one of those picks, they drafted Zach Wilson and it didn't work out. And now you're here, right? So essentially, the lesson
that was the Joe Burrow game, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So what if they would have lost the Bengals in the last game of the season and the Jets get Joe Burrow and the Bengals take Zach Wilson? That would be a wild alternate universe.
Yes. And so the moral of the story is nothing really matters unless you have a quarterback. And certainly the Colts think they have their quarterback, that Shane Steichen has found the guy that is going to make his system work. And so far for a lot of the season, it has worked. Is it aggressive to trust that, though, that Daniel Jones is the answer there? Yes, I think so. Absolutely. But I think there's a little bit more to this conversation than just them going all in for this year. Because once again, Sauce Gardner is now under contract for another 3 years after this season. Like, it's not just a play for this team to win this year. Obviously, like, you're getting Sauce Gardner at like going into his prime.
Yeah. Prime.
But also this is a necessary type of guy that they've been desperately needing in their defense for a long time now. And they saw the opportunity to go and get him. Certainly if they believe that Daniel Jones is their guy, they're going to re-sign him and go into the next couple of seasons with him. And so this is a play for that. And you certainly look at the Chris Ballard draft classes and who they take in the first round anyways and say, is this really, Chris Ballard can't draft in the first anyway. So
yeah, and he's also traded a lot of first round picks in his time as the Colts GM. So,
but it is aggressive.
Yeah, it's aggressive. So here's my thought, because the people that are anti this trade are telling the Colts, guys, did you not watch Sam Darnold last year with the Vikings? Like, how great that regular season was, and then he just pooped his pants in the playoffs and it mattered nothing. Like, did you not see that? Like, but if you're a pro this trade for Daniel Jones and the Colts, I think you look at the 2019 Tennessee Titans. Because the 2019 Tennessee Titans were a upstart Ryan Tannehill in an explosive offense with a dynamite running game and big-time wide receivers that were with a good defense. But the defense had some holes, mainly at corners who could play vertically down the field for that Titans defense. They were very close, right? And Daniel Jones and the Colts have their pathway for the AFC to have home playoff games. It's right there in front of them. If the 2019 Tennessee Titans at the trade deadline recognized, hey, we have flipped a switch, we have a chance to go for it, and they made a move to trade. And now I had to do some digging this morning. I just Googled 2019 top cornerbacks list. It was a preseason list. So take that with a grain of salt, but it's a name. If the Titans traded for Patrick Peterson at the trade deadline with the Arizona Cardinals, who were fresh off picking Kyler Murray #1 overall, bad team, and the Titans sent 2 first-round picks to the Cardinals for Patrick Peterson, do the Titans get smoked down the field with Logan Ryan playing not vertical corner in that AFC Championship game against Mahomes. Can they make that more competitive in the AFC title game, giving up 2 first-round picks who, hindsight's 2020. Isaiah Wilson and Caleb Farley were basically like trading away 2 first-round picks for nothing. So
Sure.
but that's the gamble, because the Colts think we got Daniel Jones. Our first-round picks are going to be 25 or later. So what are we getting 25 or later anyway? We'd rather have Sauce Gardner to help us in January games. I'm just saying that's the comp here, right? If you're pro the Colts making this trade, the Titans, now if it's, you can go again, the top 10 corners in 2019, the preseason, Patrick Peterson was number 1 on NFL.com. So that is what it is. Jalen Ramsey was number 2. He was on the Jags at the point, or he just got traded to the Rams. So that wasn't happening. And then you go to Stephon Gilmore on the Patriots. The Patriots were a playoff team because the Titans beat him in the playoffs, so you weren't getting him. Number 4 and 5 were Xavier Howard and Byron Jones, 2 Dolphins cornerbacks. And so those guys aren't like they're not 2 first-round draft pick type guys. Patrick Peterson kind of fits the name of the Sauce Gardner situation, even though different situations and spots in their career. But JT, do you pick up what I'm putting down?
Absolutely. I think it certainly could look the same. And I think the connection to, or the comparison from this Colts team to what the Titans did in 2019 is absolutely like on the money there. And so it's the gamble, right? They did absolutely overpay. Once again, 2 firsts and that wide receiver. It's a wide receiver that fell out of favor there anyways. Certainly was a guy who wasn't even playing over Ashton, or not, I forget who the guy, not Ashton Doolin anymore, but their 4th string guy who's their punt returner. Anthony Gould is the name there. He wasn't playing over him, right, on this team. And so like it really is just not that much to throw in there, except once again, a developmental piece that they can try to retool and build for the future there. It is the gamble. And is it going to be smart? Once again, I think it all comes down to, the Daniel Jones of it all, right? Does he continue to look like this guy, or does he turn back into the Daniel Jones we've seen for years on end now? And they certainly look like they've caught lightning in a bottle for this season, but they've no doubt tied their trailer to the Daniel Jones experience. And will it work in 2026 and 2027? Not sure, but at least your defense now, which has looked pretty good, but had a glaring need to get better at the cornerback position because of injuries and whatnot, they go out and do that. And now they're set and don't even have to worry about that essentially in the draft either, right? Now with your picks that you have in the 2nd and 3rd round, you can continue to beef up that interior or the linebacker, or once again, go get a younger guy to pair with Daniel Jones or help out on the offensive line. Like all of those things, like you can start building around them there because you believe in the guy.
Definitely. So I think, we'll see how it plays out, but the Colts have a 3-year window right now with Daniel Jones. If it maintains, what can they do with it? The Titans had a 3-year window with Ryan Tannehill in that offense with Derrick Henry before they traded away AJ Brown. And they came up short, but it was really good until it wasn't. And so, I think when you identify yourself looking to have, if you identify that you're in year 1 of a 3-year window, midway through year 1, do something about it. And I think that's what the Colts are doing. So we'll see how it plays out.
Maybe it, like Edward says, maybe it is the honeymoon stage. Everything is good but that's what you do, right? Like that's Chris Ballard has been here for a long, long time. He has seemingly been given new life. I mean, the last 2 years before they got Daniel Jones and put this in, he essentially could have been fired, but wasn't. And now with the passing of Jim Irsay and everybody kind of, taking this new approach to the Colts front office, he's kind of been given new life. This team has found something in Daniel Jones. taking the most of that opportunity to build up that goodwill again and extend his longevity there. And so this is the play.
All right, for sake of time, let's go ahead and shift to trivia because, man, we have so many more. Like, we have created new topics now as we're looking current season and big picture now for the Tennessee Titans. But now time for some trivia. Let's go. Shout out to Wilson County Hyundai. Make them a part of your new car buying process. Go see them in Lebanon or online at wilsoncountyhyundai.com for your new ride. It is trivia time. JT, I'm getting ready to share my screen. Not yet. But now, here we go. Let's see how this plays out with sharing. Okay. I don't know how smooth that was on everybody else's end, but it works out for me.
Orlando says over under who gives a damn. Wow. Crazy. Ann is also here. Good to see you, Ann. So we're
just
back.
Like the Titans. All right.
Absolutely.
We've got, let's look at the board. We got NHL, so I'm glad JT's here. Snacks and candy, appropriate as Halloween just wrapped up.
Yep.
Okay, are we ready?
I am.
All right, here we go. NFL. Despite a legendary college career, Monte Ball totaled less than 800 rushing yards during this AFC team. That would be the Denver Broncos,
right?
Yeah.
Yep.
History. This man became prime minister of Italy in 1922, later adopted the title of Deuce Deuce and aligned with Italy as Hitler and Nazis Germany.
Mussolini?
How you spell?
Benito
Mussolini?
Yeah.
There you go. TV. Both starring in the CW show. Chase Crawford beat out co-star Penn Badgley for, this is Gossip Girl.
Sure.
Movies. In 1757, during the French and Indian War, 7 Years' War, Daniel Day-Lewis had the lead role as Nathaniel and Hawkeye Poe in this 1992 historical war drama. I don't know this one.
No idea.
I see you, Ann.
1992 Historica Last of the Mohicans. All right.
The Last of the Mohicans. All right, there we go. Music. This 1980s, 90s sitcom star and comedian dated Alanis Morissette for 2 years before the release of Jagged Little Pill and is rumored to be the inspiration of You Ought to Know.
No idea.
No.
Will Smith?
No.
No, I don't know.
Definitely not Will Smith.
David Collier?
Dave Coulier.
Or Coulier?
Yeah.
No idea. Start throwing stuff out.
Snacks and candy. Popsicle brand popsicles introduced this treat based on the famous Nickelodeon character in 2023, replaced the gumball eyes with chocolate chips. That's SpongeBob, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Cool.
NHL. What current NHL franchise was known as the Quebec Nordics until 1995?
The Nordiques. Come on, Austin. That's the Colorado Avalanche.
Okay. NBA. This 6'10 former All-Star won Rookie of the Year in 2018, but he is currently an unsigned free agent.
2018?
Rookie of the Year 2018. Currently,
is Ben Simmons not in the league anymore?
Ben Simmons. That maybe could be it. That sounds correct. Boom. All right, here we go. Ooh.
What?
That is, oh crap. Why his name has escaped me, but it's
I have
so
no idea,
obvious.
man.
You have no idea? I know both of them, but I can't. It's oh no.
I got no idea.
Dustin Hoffman. Thank you. Yes, that's who I was.
Is he the inner or outer?
Dustin Hoffman is the inside.
Okay.
Oh, I know that hair.
That's Mike McCoy.
Not Mike McCoy.
Looks like no.
John Voight. We just had a Daniel Day-Lewis question, so he can't be that. Oh man, we were rolling so fast. Pierce Bronson? David Beckham.
is
He's not that gray.
old. We got the inside. We just need the hair.
Oh.
The hair.
Do we want to go with John Voight?
I mean, do we go Daniel Day-Lewis if it's...
Christopher said he's wrong, but what did he guess? Gregor? We know Dustin Hoffman's the inside. We got that. Timothy Oliphant? This guy?
Insane pull from Joshua.
Oh, we missed it. Okay, so we can do a double dip. So it's not that.
Billy Bob Thornton.
There's no way it's Billy Bob Thornton, guys.
Should we go John Voight?
John Voight? Is it Jon Voight? Oh. No, we got it wrong. Dang it. That was an easy board. Look at the...
Yeah.
But we did miss the hardest. Okay. Daniel Day-Lewis. It was. Ah, crap.
Wow. They doubled up.
They did double up. They double bluffed us.
Yep. That's crazy.
Damn it.
Should have just trusted Ann. We should have.
Yeah.
All right. That's on us.
It is. All right, guys. That is it for us on this Wednesday. I forgot what day it was. Also, hey, don't forget, Nashville Water Taxi. We have some tickets we're giving away this week. So keep your eyes peeled for that this week on the show. And also, if you haven't already, please like the show before you go. Hit that subscribe button on YouTube as well. But make sure you hit that thumbs up on YouTube and Facebook. Man, it was so good. Trivia was so good until it wasn't. But a great show today. We'll catch you guys later on tomorrow on a Thursday with Easton and JT. We'll catch you guys then. Appreciate it as always.